Discover the benefits of belonging.
The Carib Cement family wishes you a season of peace, safety, good health, and hope for a brighter future. Carib Cement, building a greater Jamaica.
The Imperial brand, where quality meets perfection. Find them in your nearest appliance store.
The time by Imperial Appliances is
7 o'clock.
The following program is suitable for viewing by children under the supervision of adults. Parental discretion is advised.
News headlines brought to you by
Shop at fontanapharmacy.com and have your order delivered right to your door.
Primetime news feedback brought to you by
Cars to Cars Auto.
About variety,
In primetime news this evening, travel restrictions. Government bans all flights coming into the island from the United Kingdom. Christmas impact. Tourism sector workers lament as new travel ban shatters hopes of holiday rebound. And new COVID strain. WHO insists no evidence that new strain of the virus is more severe. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. We're on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Herman Green.
And I'm Vashon Brown. Also this evening, the Business Day, Primetime Sports, Sports Commentary, E-Prime and Weather. But first, the feedback question.
Our feedback question this evening. What are your views on the deal worked out between the church and the government to enable them to hold watch night services beyond the 10 p.m. curfew?
Share comments online, facebook.com/Television Jamaica, and tweet us at Television Jam.
Please stay with us. Primetime News returns right after this break.
News headlines brought to you by
Shop at fontanapharmacy.com and have your order delivered right to your door.
Your family plus Flow Internet equals a family that chats, streams, works, studies, everything from home. And now, when you have Flow Internet and you add Flow Mobile, you
It's classic. Every other burger still stuck at square one.
Babe!
3 juicy Whopper right on time.
Taste rules your way at Burger King. The best tasting burgers under the sun.
This Christmas, your Flow Internet plus mobile equals 50% off an unlimited postpaid mobile plan and a Samsung Galaxy A7 tablet for only $3,999 plus GCT. Get connected to all you want for Christmas.
TVJ's Christmas season safety tip brought to you by
Come on, let me take you where the music is alive.
Whatever your family acquired this Christmas, be sure not to advertise it by leaving the packaging on display outside the property. When the festivities are over, recycle your rubbish and don't leave boxes in plain sight. Burglars might be on the lookout for top-of-the-range equipment worth breaking in for. That was a TVJ Christmas season safety tip brought to you by
Come on, let me take you where the music is alive.
It starts with the aroma of Grandma's cake recipe baked to perfection. The spice of ginger blended with pineapple, the splash of sauce finishing off your jerk chicken. Rich browning makes the oxtail just right. Vibrant vanilla, amazing almond, resplendent rose water. Oh, embrace the sweet, savory, and spice of Benjamin's. Full of flavor.
Here's to new holiday memories. Bring some cheer and get some too. Gift yourself with more cash back or earn travel rewards when you shop for the holidays with your NCB credit card. Cheer the cheer. Invite a friend to
Dermon
Sweet home. Strong years.
Welcome back to Primetime News, and again a special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. Amidst fears of a new COVID-19 variant in the United Kingdom, the Jamaican government has banned all flights coming into the island from the UK for a period of 2 weeks. In a statement today, the Health Ministry said flights coming into country over the next 24 hours and outbound flights to the UK will be allowed up to midnight on Tuesday. Jamaica is among over 40 countries which have instituted travel restrictions on the British nation. Now, Kelisha Williams has the story.
There was high anticipation Monday morning as Cabinet was locked in a meeting to discuss the fate of inbound flights from the United Kingdom. This after a new strain of the coronavirus was detected in the UK. Then by 12:09 p.m., Director of Public Relations and Communications in the Health Ministry, Stephen Davidson, issued this statement via email. It said, effective immediately, the government of Jamaica will ban all flights coming into the island from the UK for a period of 2 weeks ending January 4, 2021. As for flights that are already scheduled to arrive in Jamaica and outbound flights to the UK, the ministry said those will be allowed until midnight Tuesday, December 22. It added that Jamaica is expecting 3 flights from the UK over the next 24 hours, with 1 already en route. Those passengers will be quarantined for 48 hours and tested for the virus. Passengers who test negative will be fitted with armbands for monitoring and released to complete their 14-day quarantine at home, while those found to be positive will be isolated in state facilities until recovered. Also, the ministry indicated that persons who arrive in the country from other ports of entry via the UK will also be required to adhere to all restrictions in line with the provisions under the Quarantine Act. The ministry has strongly advised Jamaicans not to travel to the UK.
In the meantime, the opposition has supported the government's decision. However, opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Maurice Guy, said it's now time for the government to review the UK travel database and track all persons who have entered the country within the last 5 days. Jamaica is among over 40 countries to ban travel from the UK. Here in the Caribbean, the Grenadian government suspended all air traffic between Grenada and the United Kingdom on Sunday. In Europe alone, several countries such as France, Italy, and Germany have closed their borders to travelers from the UK.
Now, we apologize for the lack of audio at the end of that report. In the meantime, the British Airways flight 2263, which was en route to Jamaica when the ban was announced, arrived at the Norman Manley International Airport around 5:30 this evening with 300 passengers. The government said arrangements have been made to ensure all the COVID-19 safety protocols are followed. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Matthew Samuda, was on location.
Teams that would have managed the controlled re-entry as a task force were hurriedly brought back together to ensure that arrangements were put in place quickly to welcome those coming on that flight, but to do so in a manner that would keep everybody safe and healthy. The government has determined that these persons must be tested and quarantined while waiting on those test results, so as to protect the population from any spread of a new strain of COVID. But we're putting in place what we need to ensure that we do everything possible to ensure that this new strain does not come to Jamaica.
He indicated that there will be some delays in processing the passengers.
We are indeed a little concerned about the management of this grouping. This was a decision taken today, so the teams from the JDF, FADPEM, JCF, Ministry of Health, PICA Customs have hurriedly put arrangements in place to facilitate the quarantining of these individuals. We're trying to do it in a manner that, to provide as much comfort as we possibly can. But as I said, I do expect delays. I do expect some discomfort.
Now, over 6,000 visitors will be impacted by the travel ban. Senior strategist at the Tourism Ministry, Delano Seavright, told the TVJ News that new UK travel restrictions will have a dire impact on the tourism industry.
We have about 546 passengers booked on 2 flights coming out of London tomorrow, Virgin Atlantic and British Airways. If those flights operate, we're talking about over 500 people visiting Jamaica. A lot of them, of course, are Jamaicans who are part of our diaspora in the UK, but a number of them are also tourists. So that gives you an idea of the scale of the traffic between the UK and Jamaica. However, the UK is our 3rd largest market. The US still accounts for 70% of our visitors, and then of course Canada, and then of course the UK. But the UK was showing good signs in recent weeks as it relates to increase in traffic.
And to news just in, the government has announced that the 2 UK flights scheduled to arrive in the island tomorrow have been cancelled. Earlier today, the Health Ministry said the flights would have been allowed under strict COVID-19 guidelines. And we will have more on this developing story in subsequent newscasts.
Now, in the meantime, raft captains in Portland have been reacting to the travel ban. They argue that the impact on business will be devastating. Anthony Lugg has their story.
Raft captains at the Rio Grande chopped bamboos, all in preparation of what they hoped would be a good winter season. But shortly after midday on Monday, they received news about the travel ban on all flights coming into the island from the UK.
We used to get at least 80% of our visitors from the UK. And see we have a raft them now, and we expect we're going to have a little business for the winter season and onward. And like our travel ban, the ban put on that and now cripple.
Rafts Dr. Shore, some of which they say have not moved in weeks. They were all clinging on to hope after suffering a major hit earlier this year due to COVID-19.
Like me, so far, in the winter, I get about 4 trips. Me personal experience, my last trip that got on river for me, I was the 18th of August. I'm going to get the next one until 21st of December. I'm going to get one more.
Sometimes 6, sometimes all 3, 4 days. No, not in one word, don't sell.
A stark reality for these raft captains who depend heavily on visitors to provide for their family. But due to the dip in business, some come to work but end up sitting under this tree waiting for guests. For others,
so me no come around from myself. Me there me yard if me see a bus pass or something right better to come because me come a deal soon waste time. And you have to me wonder where after they tell me if you just let it go, get us next set of bamboo and make it. I mean, I must report out.
There's no doubt the travel ban from the UK will have a significant impact on the tourist sector. The raft captains argue that the latest development is worrying.
We have raft we built before and stay up on the beach and the mash up, and so we have built some more and now expect to get business. And if we hear and go here now say UK put a travel ban on visitor, it will cripple we worse.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
Still to come this evening, vaccine skepticism. Jamaicans call for more education on COVID immunization. And in business news, new IPO to open at the end of the year. We'll be right back.
Your family plus Flow Internet equals a family that chats, streams, works, studies, everything from home. And now when you have Flow Internet and you add Flow Mobile, you get 50
Welcome back. Continuing the news. The World Health Organization, WHO, is insisting that there's no evidence that the new strain of the virus detected in the UK is more severe. Speaking at a press conference today, WHO officials also said a new strain detected in South Africa is not the same as the one in the UK. It was of little surprise to scientists that new variants of COVID-19 have been detected. Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, said mutation was always a possibility.
Viruses mutate over time. That's natural and expected. The UK has reported that this new variant transmits more easily, but there is no evidence so far that it's more likely to cause severe disease or mortality.
He says the WHO is working with scientists to understand how this new development affects how the virus behaves. The head of the World Health Organization's Emerging Diseases Unit, Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, says a different variant has also been detected in another country.
There was another variant that was identified in South Africa, and it has one of the same mutations, this 501Y mutation, but it's a different variant. They've arisen at the same time, so it sounds like they're linked, but it's actually a separate variant.
As for the variant in the UK, Dr. Kerkhove says WHO was first informed about it on December 14, following detailed analysis by health officials in the southeast of England.
Colleagues in the UK are monitoring sequences all the time, and they conduct full genome sequencing of a proportion of the cases across the country. They were alerted to an increase in transmission in southeast England towards the end of November, early December, around that time.
She says health officials in the UK were puzzled when they started to see increased transmission of the virus, even with COVID-19 restrictions in place.
When they did back tracing and retrospective analyses of cases in southeast England, they saw some of those cases where it had this variant in September.
The new variant has spread quickly in London and southeast England. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Saturday introduced new restrictions for those areas, scrapping a planned relaxation of rules over the Christmas period for millions of people. Mr. Johnson said the new COVID-19 variant could be up to 70% more transmissible than the original version of the disease.
And Jamaica's COVID-19 case count is now at 12,289. 65 new cases were recorded yesterday, with ages ranging from 7 months to 89 years. St. James recorded the majority of the cases, followed by Westmoreland and Trelawney. In the meantime, the health ministry says 77 persons have been hospitalized, with 6 being critically ill. Deaths relating to the respiratory illness remain at 286. However, 1 death is under investigation. Now, still on COVID-19, there is skepticism among Jamaicans surrounding the taking of the vaccine to prevent them from contracting the coronavirus. Many with whom we spoke today said greater public education is needed about the virus and the vaccine. Kirk Wright has that story.
Vaccination against the coronavirus has started in some parts of the world, and Jamaica has already placed its order for its portion. But even with the reported thousands dying overseas and the more than 200 who have lost their lives to the virus locally, many Jamaicans still believe something is amiss. Oswald Comrie from Trenchtown is one of those persons.
No, I wouldn't say the coronavirus make people die in a sense of, more than before now. It's just that I see what happened is that ones have been paying mind to people who are dying at this time now more than before. And certain illness of what they have been revealing more than what usually reveal when a one died. You just hear one died and you don't hear nothing what the cause of it is all about. But since this COVID-19 coming now, it's like say everyone who have died now actually is COVID, they died by.
Mr. Comrie says he would not take the vaccine, and so too did Mr. Kenneth Bogle. They want much more information to make any kind of informed decision.
Well, who want to take it. But I know I not take it. And I now make a grandpit them take it. And if I bring them around, I decide to take it, and I can't tell them don't take it. And if they want to take that for them choice.
Donit Dow and Lincoln Morrison are also skeptical, but they say they would get vaccinated only if it's tried and proven among our leaders.
I think Bill Gates should test on himself and his wife and children first. All the ministers should test on themselves first and their families first. then I will take it.
Franklin Cousins was the lone wolf. He's the only person to whom we spoke who said he would readily take the vaccine.
Well, taking the vaccine, it will be much better for me as a high potential patient. And if many others like me, are potential-wise like me, or other sickness can take it, it will be good for us.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, ahead of the introduction of the COVID-19 vaccine, one immunologist is urging the government to step up its public education about the vaccine. Shamela Pullen has that angle.
There's a claim that the COVID-19 vaccines will be used to implant a microchip in people so they can be tracked. But immunologist Dr. Johan White says that is false.
What is new about some of these vaccines is that it's a new platform that uses messenger RNA, which is like a gene based on the virus that allows your body to make the proteins that then elicit an immune response in your body so that your body mounts antibodies to protect you from infection when you do encounter the real virus that causes COVID-19.
It's why Dr. White believes public education is important.
Be frank with people, be frank with the public, address their concerns, listen to their questions, and to educate them about what we're seeing in the clinical trials, that the vaccines have proven to be highly effective. A 95% effectiveness level is pretty good. There are vaccines that we have licensed, like hepatitis B vaccine, that has only a 60% effectiveness or efficacy.
Dr. White says vaccine hesitancy has become a growing concern worldwide. He says it is unfortunate because vaccines in the past have saved the lives of millions of people.
In a way, the society has become, and when I say society, I mean worldwide, has become somewhat complacent because we have benefited from the elimination of diseases like smallpox and significantly reducing diseases like polio and measles. So, in a way, we have forgotten what, the world could look like if we didn't have these vaccines.
Despite the benefits, Dr. White says the vaccine should not be forced. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
COVID cases at infirmaries are down, new measures to communicate with relatives implemented, and a no-nonsense approach by the police on protocol breaches. Those are some of the recent updates from local government Minister Desmond McKenzie for the Christmas season.
Illegal holiday parties continue to be a concern for health officials amidst the COVID pandemic. But according to local government Minister Desmond McKenzie, the authorities have been up to the challenge.
Well, quite a number of persons have been arrested and charged by the police. And the numbers are growing because I am sure that close to over 70 odd persons over the last weekend and a lot more were arrested and charged by the police.
Mr. McKenzie was speaking at a recent handing over ceremony for cell phones to infirmaries. Infirmaries are particularly vulnerable because of the age of the residents. The minister says testing and prevention protocols have been ramped up at all facilities across the island. With the recent spike in cases in Westmoreland, Mr. McKenzie says there is only one infirmary case in that parish.
But outside of that, all the persons who were affected by COVID have recovered fully, and the Vineyard town is COVID-free as we speak, and all our infirmaries, as it relates to the residents, only one active case in Westmoreland.
Changes have also been made to govern the celebrations for the season. While visits have been stopped since March, protocol restrictions have extended to the usual holiday interactions.
We are saying that for Christmas, you would normally get a flood of persons going to these facilities. While we appreciate the gesture, we are saying Provided we will pick it up, we will deal with it in the infirmary, but nobody outside of the staff will be allowed to access the infirmaries.
The new measure implemented will see cell phones at each facility to enable communication between persons at the infirmary and their loved ones at home. Still to come in business news. Alliance Financial Services to mount IPO next week. While on the international scene, U.S. President-elect Joe Biden receives first dose of COVID-19 vaccine.
Your family plus Flow Internet equals a family that chats, streams,
These goats, this burnt-out car, and the blocked road serve as clues into an incident that took place in Tanaki in Clarendon early this morning. Reports are that around 3 this morning, 3 men made off with 3 goats in the back of a Toyota Isis. The farmer, having heard strange noises, went to investigate and realized his goats were missing. He then sounded an alarm to his neighbors that his goats had been stolen. A message was sent to the neighboring Morse community, where residents used stones and large pieces of tree trunks to erect roadblocks to intercept the getaway vehicle. With no way to escape, the men turned back. We understand they ended up at the same location from where they stole the goats. It was there that they were beaten and chopped by residents. One of the men escaped, another died on the spot from the chop wounds, while another was saved by police and taken to hospital, where he's receiving critical care for his chop wounds. The 3 missing goats were safely recovered.
And most of us, we have to raise the goat, because we goat are we only little source. You understand? So we have to raise the goat, daddy. And we have to look for teeth them too. You understand? So I want them, don't come back, please.
Another farmer said only days ago he suffered at the hands of thieves.
We have to go down them teeth Friday night. So they come this morning and come see what going on.
Residents in the meantime are being warned by the police not to carry out their own form of justice whenever they catch offenders, but rather to hand over the bandits to the police. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
In this week's edition of A Ray of Hope, we take you on a ride to Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, where you'll meet a man who loves to redesign bicycles and disposables. As you'll see and hear from Kian Morgan, nothing brings him more joy than to see his ideas come to fruition.
A Ray of Hope brought to you by
At Courts, we've got more ways for you to shop and pay. Shopping just got easier. Only at Courts. Conditions apply.
While you're laughing at me picking up your trash, I'm laughing at you spending your cash.
Just the thought of it makes him smile. Lansford Francis, or Lance for short, says recycling is his middle name.
A lot of stuff that people will get, would throw out, I would see it as more valuable than it is.
This shop is where all the magic happens, modifying bicycles into a work of art. It's something he's been doing from a tender age.
My first bicycle was actually handed down to me from my grandmother, and that was my first modification.
He considers this yard his museum, and for his art, some double the size, some miniature, and others have you wondering how or if it works. We're all inspired by life's daily occurrences.
I was actually speaking to a food guy. They said, no, Jamaica people don't carry food behind them. So now I'm going to have to build one that actually carries the food in front of it.
He admits, while he would take custom orders, his art is not for sale. Lance says the kids in the community often flock his shop to join in the experience. The joy on Lance's face reveals he'll be doing this until his last breath.
When you love what you do, it's no limit to it.
And the feedback.
It's like I'm in Hollywood, just pictures taken, click, 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 cameras all over.
Lance, who resides in the U.S. for over 30 years and worked as a biomedical technician, says he came back home after taking early retirement just so he could do this. He says it's more fulfilling than a 9-to-5.
I've been doing it without any financial anything from anybody, and it feels good. So just imagine if I could do it on a bigger scale.
Lance says he would love to impart his knowledge to others in the community.
I would be more than happy to even be the director and do hands-on with children, adults, whatever it is. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily limits to bicycles for those who want to learn how to, these Chinese people extract gold and silver from these circuit boards and other stuff. Yes, I'm willing to teach you guys.
With a ray of hope, I'm Kian Morgan.
A Ray of Hope brought to you by
At Courts, we've got more ways for you to shop and pay. Shopping just got easier. Only at Courts. Conditions apply.
And before we go to our it's time now for our feedback responses. We've been asking this question: What are your views on the deal worked out between the church and the government to enable them to hold watch night services beyond 10 p.m. curfew? Our first response is from Delisha Walker. She says, rules are rules. I am a Christian and my pastor keeps night service 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Why they can't follow the same? We all must know it's a pandemic. Shamai says, persons are going to use the medium as an excuse to be on the road, so I do not support this decision. Another one from Zidane who says, rules should be applied to everyone. Our question again, what are your views on the deal worked out between the church and the government to enable churches to hold watch night services beyond the 10 p.m. curfew? Keep your comments coming. Facebook.com/Television Jamaica or tweet us at Television Jam. The Business Day and News from Overseas. They are both after the break, so please stay with us.
Prime time.
And it's now time for the Business Day. Alliance Financial Services is to mount an initial public offering IPO. It will open on December 28 and close on January 11. Alliance Financial is looking to raise at least $1.5 billion. 1.2 billion shares will be sold at $1.59 each. Now, in today's trading session, the JC Index advanced by 2,168 points to close at 390,163. The Junior Market Index advanced by 19 points to close at 2,592. The main winners were iCreate, Mailpack, Siboney, Sagicor Group, Everything Fresh, and Palace Amusement. The losers were Kingston Properties, SSL Venture Capital, Salada Foods, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, and Key Insurance. Currency trading ended today with the US dollar selling for $143.95. The Canadian sold for $111.51. The pound closed at $192.11, while the euro is going for $177.63. American airline employees who were furloughed in October could be headed back to work. The company's CEO says if a new stimulus bill is passed into law, then he can rehire roughly 19,000 workers. He made the announcement Monday on his verified Instagram account. The pilots, flight attendants, gate agents, and others were let go when the CARES Act ended on October 1st. That federal program gave payroll support to the airline industry. This latest stimulus package will provide carriers $16 billion in relief. American Airlines says the furloughed workers would receive pay and benefits retroactive to December 1st. Their jobs would be safe from further furloughs until the end of March. And that's the Business Day. We'll be right back with the international stories, so please stay with us.
The Business Day on Mondays, brought to you by.
Learn more about the Guardian Extendable Term Policy, Guardian Life.
Let's Guardian your life. Yummy bakery and lead with the flavor. You carry a good taste of the whole snack line. The brand of generations, yes, it's yummy time.
The time by Yummy is
7:46.
We go on to news overseas. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden and his wife received their first doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine today. Meanwhile, the U.S. vaccination program is well on the way to vaccinate staff and residents in long-term care facilities across the country. More from the CNN.
The battle against coronavirus gets another shot in the arm as patients begin receiving the first doses of the new Moderna vaccine.
I think it's a really great milestone.
Now, with 2 COVID-19 vaccines green-lighted, health officials plan to accelerate distribution over the coming holiday week.
By the end of next week, will be 11 million doses distributed to the American people, but we have a long way to go, and we want to be better and better and better.
Meanwhile, vaccine advisors for the CDC.
And the Primetime News package continues with sports right after this break.
Whether you're a new driver, now you can renew your policy online and print your cover note, all from the convenience of your home. MIB Insure. No worries, big savings.
Me love me little squeezes, me love the way it pleases. My eyes, my nose, my mouth makes me tongue go wow. When all is done and said, me love me shorty bread. You love your shorty what? Me love me shorty bread. You love your shorty what? Me love me shorty bread. And it was made by honey bun. Me love me shorty bread. Shorty.
'Tis the season for smart money. Need money? Get money. Just be smart. Don't withdraw your investments. The Barita Smart Loan lets you borrow money against your Barita portfolio without touching your funds. Money for today, even more money for tomorrow. Apply now. Visit www.barita.com/smartloans for details on our competitive rates and repayment terms too.
You know what I'm home for 3 months and I'll know him not pay me. Me give him notice to leave my place, but him a move like him don't want to leave. It look like me have to go put him out myself.
Let me stop you right there. Under the law, you can't enforce the notice on your own.
you have to carry him go court.
But me not even know what to do when me go to courthouse.
Well, first you have to lodge a complaint at your parish court saying what happened. Once you do that, the court will issue a summons that must be served on time.
Okay, me will do that.
After you give him the summons, make sure you take the court's copy to a JP for their signature. And then take that to the court at least 3 days before the summons say you must go court.
Alright, Jen. Me I go down at the courthouse tomorrow to lodge my complaint and get the process for the summons started.
Contact the Court Administration Division for further information at 876-754-8337 or visit the Parish Court website at www.parishcourt.gov.jm.
Brought to you by the Justice Undertakings for Social Transformation Program, a project funded by Global Affairs Canada.
Credit costs less at Singer. Shop at Singer now until December 31st and get amazing credit deals. Only Singer gives you 4 months for cash, 9 months no interest, or up to 36 months to pay. Choose the credit plan that suits your pocket. Plus, make no monthly payments until February 2021. Shopping on credit just got even better at Singer. Shop today.
Nah, click on your link for my liquor brother pre that slap bro, we no need that. And the next thing them type a song they are listening online, what kind of thing that's some big man pose up on them profile and a put chat to a small child. Watch yourself on social media when you a post boxes, no do nothing too wild. What if your liquor brother in a post, yeah? What if your bro dead in another crime video, yeah? What if your little sister take a one pic and it a put up everywhere like it's a poster? Before I share the post, the pic, I ask myself what if I nah comment, I nah go click me. Before I ask what if I nah comment, I nah go click me. Before I ask what if so before you share the post, the link, just ask yourself what if yeah. When you're there online, make it a new day at the rhyme. Keep up with the time. Broadcasting Commissioner remind you.
Coming up in Primetime Sports Monday, tis the season for giving. The imminent return of National Athletes Assistance Program among offers from the government. And COVID worries. There are fears the country could lose a generation of youth footballers because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Good evening, I'm Jordan Fort and I'll have the details after the break.
Great Moments in Sports is brought to you by...
Just buy any 5 Lasco products. Scan the code or visit lascowish.com. Join Lasco Wish Chat, send a picture of your receipt and name to enter. Listen for a call to win a Christmas wish this year. It's time to win a Christmas wish again this year. With Lasco. Conditions apply. See the press for details.
On this day in 1963, heavyweight boxer Donovan Razor Ruddock was born in St. Catherine, Jamaica. Ruddock earned the Razor nickname early in his career for his cutting jab, but he was better known for his powerful hybrid left hook uppercut, which he called the smash. One of the best exhibitions of his left-hand power was his brutal 1990 knockout of former WBA heavyweight champion Michael Dokes.
Right now, Ruddock is fighting the wrong fight, not using his legs at all. Performance by Razor Ruddock. This is the best young heavyweight prospect I've seen in years, Sam.
Great Moments in Sports is brought to you by...
Just buy any 5 Lasco products. Scan the code or visit lascowish.com. Join Lasco Wish Chat, send a picture of your receipt and name to enter. Listen for a call to win a Christmas wish this year. It's time to win a Christmas wish again this year. For details.
Grace Kennedy Money Services, Western Union, 30 years of connecting the dots, simply because we get you. The time by Grace Kennedy Money Services and Western Union is...
Welcome back now to Primetime Sports Monday. Athletes preparing for the postponed Tokyo Olympic Games next year will be provided with psychological support by the government, while the Athletes Assistance Program will also see a return in short order. In the meantime, high school athletics has also gotten a major boost. The Athletes Assistance Program, which saw 145 athletes training for the Tokyo Olympics receive $80,000 a month, was suspended in July following the postponement of the Games. But with the quadrennial multi-sport event set to take place next year, Sports Minister Olivia Grange says the program will come back on board soon. But there is also an addition which has to do with mental health.
We're also providing support through a mental health program through the Jamaica Athletes Insurance Plan to help the athletes to get back into a frame of mind to overcome the setback that they have had and to prepare themselves to be ready for the Olympics.
In the meantime, with plans in motion to stage the ISA Boys and Girls Championships next year, high school athletics has also received a major boost. 7 schools on Monday got hurdles through a partnership between the Jamaican and the Japanese governments to assist in their development. J3A's president Garth Gale says Monday's handover was born out of a meeting between former President Dr. Blake and the Japanese authorities.
When we visited 3 years ago, we met, the President Blake and I met with Mr. Amasaki, and we thought of how best they could assist us. And today is the second of handing over of hurdles to the J3s, and we in turn has given to schools that are we deemed in need of hurdles for continuing their training program.
With a number of the schools in receipt of the hurdles being from the East, ISA President Keith Wellington says it's a step in the right direction in terms of leveling the playing field.
Well, we think that is very important. Our students' development depend heavily on the resources available at the schools. If you note, the hurdles were shared with schools who have less resources than some of the top schools, and I think by sharing these resources amongst the less fortunate, if I may call them that, it gives us a great opportunity to discover talents that may otherwise go undiscovered.
Titchfield High, Fogo Road, St. Andrew Technical, Rousseau and Windward Road Primary were the other schools to receive hurdles. The handing over was done by Chairman of the Totori Athletic Association, Shinichi Hamasaki. Some football now. The lingering presence of the COVID-19 pandemic continues to paint a grim picture for competitive sports on the island. And the chairman of the JFF Technical Committee, Rudolph Speed, is worried for the nation's youth players. Jerome Foster reports.
Ahead of the CONCACAF Club Championship game between Waterhouse and Haitian team club Arcahai, Jamaica has not seen local competitive football since March, and that has sparked discussions about losing a generation of talent. Chairman of the JFF's Technical Committee, Rudolph Speed, is worried, especially with the rest of the region actively in competition.
Foundation of our development is the Manning Cup that didn't play either. So for like the under 20, those players would have been sitting, they would have been training from, April to December. So you're talking about like 6, 7, 8 months of training gone here. Also, if Premier League is not playing for them to sham up themselves, that again is going to be a problem when we go into the qualifiers. No match fitness, no match sharpness. So it's like we're giving up on trying to qualify for the under 20 World Cup finals unless these age group players get some football in at a high competitive level.
And with the gloomy outlook, Speed posited that a bold stance might have to be taken.
For our players, where we have World Cup qualifiers coming up, we have under 20 World Cup qualifiers coming up too. If our players don't get to play, train fully and play, when we go to meet those other players in the rest of the world in CONCACAF, where everybody that is playing will be behind. So development is our greatest concern. So when we reach on the pitch with those players, is say you take 10,000 hours to become a doctor, it's like you have 9/10 of a doctor in football in terms of playing against people who are much more developed than us. And that is our real concern at this particular point.
The nation's senior team closed the year ranked at number 47 in the world. But with a jam-packed 2021 in the forecast, Speed wants clarity.
There's this theory that every professional needs 10,000 hours to become world class, right? So if Jamaica doesn't play any football for 12 months or 18 months, what is going to happen is that we would have to play catch up some other time. When the rest of the world is playing and training and improving themselves, we are not playing, we're not improving ourselves at the same rate. So we are going to be falling behind.
The Under-20 World Cup qualifiers are slated for February 2021, while the Senior World Cup qualifiers are scheduled for September next year. Jerome Foster, TVJ Sports.
Now, reggae girl Khadija Bonnie Shaw, she's had one of her 14 goals this campaign, nominated as the league own goal of 2020. This strike against Montpellier on December 12 is one of 3 goals nominated for the year. The 23-year-old Shaw is the leading goal scorer this season with 14 goals in 11 games. She's in the last year of her 2-year contract with Bordeaux, who currently sit 3rd in the league. And with that, we take a break on Primetime Sports Monday. Stay with us. More after this.
You know you can stay home and do all your
which was sent to Minister Tufton and copied to Sports Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange on December 1. In the letter, the JFF requested an urgent meeting for an update on the deliberations regarding the start of the Premier League. The letter further stated that the JFF was unclear of the very specific concerns that the ministries had regarding the restart of football. It closed out by saying they would be available for an in-person meeting as of December 5 or a virtual meeting at any time. 3 weeks later, there has been no reply to the JFF and the Health Minister's comment coming 11 days after the JFF requested a meeting. On Monday, TVJ Sports sought an answer from Minister Grange as to why the return of competitive football remains uncertain.
I'm not going to say anything about football at this time. Today, it's track and field. And I want to focus on track and field.
Interestingly, since Minister Tufton declared there would be no permit for sports for the rest of 2020, there have been activities in track and field and golf. Jermaine Brown reporting for TVJ Sports.
Some horse racing now. A landmark multi-billion-dollar deal has been inked between 2 local promoters of horse racing, Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL, and horse racing betting solutions provider BetMakers Technology Group, which includes a 5-year sponsorship. As Denise Walters reports, the deal is the first of its kind in North America and the Caribbean.
Stakeholders are welcoming the news that this historic partnership between SVREL and BetMakers, a leader in horse racing distribution and betting solutions out of Australia, will include construction of new infrastructure and event sponsorship until 2025.
next level stuff for the stakeholders in general. You know, I can understand they don't want to disclose the actual amount of funds that they're investing, but you can see that this is a major deal, and you just have to have the trust that the right thing is going to be done for the stakeholders as well.
The direct benefits to the agreement will see the construction of a trainers' pavilion and a future race sponsorship with bet makers, implementing, managing and distributing a fixed odds betting solution that will give punters more choices when placing their bets. Bet makers will have sponsors benefit for the Triple Crown Series, the quarterly championship, and the naming of one race for each race day for the entire year. As stakeholders continue to call on the government to remove the importation tax on horses, bet makers are offering the promoting company their assistance in that quarter as well.
So we're pleased to deliver that. And not only are we delivering it, unlike some other fixed odds platforms, bet makers is saying we're not just here for the platform. We actually are interested in growing the ecosystem. And, you know, I was pretty impressed when I came to the table. I was hearing stuff about, you know, guys, we've been looking at your horses. If you need help with bringing down horses, etc., we have the ability to do that, etc.
Denise Walters for TVJ Sports.
All right, recapping the top stories now making Primetime Sports Monday. Athletes preparing for the postponed Tokyo Olympic Games next year will be provided with psychological assistance by the government, while the Athletes Assistance Program will also see a return in short order, according to Sports Minister Olivia Grange. And the JFF Technical Committee Chairman Rudolph Speed says he is worried for the nation's youth, players who have been inactive for the majority of 2020 due to COVID-19. All right, so that's going to do it then for Primetime Sports Monday. Stay with us. Sports commentary is next.
Nature can give you extra moments of joy, like a warm, lingering breeze. Airwick scented oils give you extra moments too by lasting up to 60 days, twice as long as the leading gel cone. Upgrade to Airwick.
Babe, their first Christmas isn't going to be special. We're not going to get to introduce them to all the family, especially Auntie Lulu.
Christmas is always special. We just have to make some new traditions this year.
Christmas inside, light it up. Moving with the times, everything is online. Love of your family, show them you can still living it up this year. Whoa, here's to new traditions.
No, you know, if anyone was brave enough to bet the Maverick when I said corporate Jamaica would never support local football in any meaningful way anytime soon, anybody at the time who would have bet me that, yes, 6 brand new corporate sponsors plus new title or presenting sponsors Digicel would be pumping $200 million over 3 years into the Jamaican Premier League, I would have bet my life savings, my house, my car, and my puppy dog. And then direct them to Bellevue. I'm going to lose. I mean, we are looking at roughly $300 million in new sponsorship, and the league don't even start yet. And it was always perplexing why corporate Jamaica snubbed local football for so long, when it is clearly the most popular sport across all classes of Jamaicans, still the most played and watched sport in the country, still the sport with the greatest community reach, and yet the premier competition in that same sport over several decades struggled for meaningful sponsorship. But all of a sudden, with the long-standing PLCA disbanded, the new professional football Jamaica body formed with the newly designated national hero as the face of the new thrust. As we speak, stone is being turned into bread and water is being turned into wine, proving that it is never ever too late for a shower of rain. Yes.
Reusable and recyclable shopping bags and straws became a way of life for all Jamaicans in January 2019 when the government introduced a ban on single-use plastics. As we continue to make Jamaica plastic-free, the government will implement a ban on plastic straws attached to juice boxes and pouches effective January 1, 2021. The thickness of single-use plastic bags banned in 2019 will also increase from 1.2 mils to 2.5 mils. Refuse single-use plastic products and protect our beautiful island. Another phase of the ban on single-use plastics takes effect on January 1, 2021. Preserve our land. Support the plastic ban. Contact the National Environment and Planning Agency for details.
It's the Supreme Games Grand Giveaway.
On Thursday. Closing the show on a high was the GM for broadcast, going by the moniker Genesee. The Big Boss was a pure delight to watch on the turntables and surprise fans when the managers from the group joined her and dance expressions on stage for the viral dance Jerusalem.
I come to represent for the brand, but the truth of the matter is that this is the home of all of the best DJs in Jamaica, so I have no alternative but to do well because I represent them.
Fame Frequency Starstruck was also the heights of glitz and glam with an all-white themed event courtesy of Sagicor VVIP Experience and Smirnoff. That's it for E-Prime this evening. I am Deidre. Thank you for watching.
As we celebrate the season, JPS is honored to have served you throughout this year. Together, we've tackled
degrees Celsius. It's also partly cloudy tomorrow morning and partly cloudy also in the afternoon, with high temperatures averaging about 31 degrees Celsius. Now, the breakdown has partly cloudy skies for the south, the southwest, as well as the northeast tomorrow, and also for the north. But we are expecting generally fair skies for the northwest. That's Falmouth, Montego Bay, and Lucy. Now, on Wednesday, morning showers are forecast. It's sunny on Thursday. On Friday, look for some nighttime showers. And then on Saturday, it's cloudy, cool, with some isolated showers. And we do expect strong winds, so that frontal boundary is expected to be very near to the island on the weekend. The forecast for inshore airs on the north coast tomorrow has winds gusting to 50 knots out of the northeast and lifting waves to 1.5 meters. There are no small craft warnings in effect for inshore areas. Inshore areas of the south coast have southerly winds averaging 10 knots, which lift waves to about a meter, while offshore, the winds are northeasterly reaching 15 knots and lifting wave heights to 1.5 meters. In the outlook, we're expecting easterly winds on Wednesday and Thursday, but on Friday, the winds turn out of the north, averaging 10 knots. The sun setting Kingston tomorrow is at 5:38. The sunset at Negril Point is 5:44. That's where we leave you this evening with the weather report and forecast. Stay tuned. Here's a news recap after the break.
Me love me little squeezes, me love the way it pleases. My eyes, me know.
Welcome back. Now, before the recap, some more comments or some more responses to our feedback question. We've been asking, what are your views on the deal worked out between the church and the government to enable them to hold watch night services beyond the 10 p.m. curfew? Sasha says, well, everybody will be at church coming next Thursday. Another one from Weng who says, I love it. The church is where all of us should seek refuge. The last one from Ismay, Jamaica needs prayer. Let the people of God come together and cry out to God. And that's all our responses for this evening. Vashan?
All right, thank you so much, Herman. Our top story today, travel restrictions. Government bans all flights coming into the island from the UK. I'm Vashan Brown. On behalf of Herman and the rest of our team, pleasant viewing. Now, before we go, I want to remind you to tune in to our town hall this evening, Cockpit Controversy, with Dion Jackson Miller at 9 this evening. So please join us for that. On behalf of the entire team, pleasant viewing.